It was a joint effort with the Okaloosa and the Walton County Health Departments and various nonprofits to organize a summit on affordable housing and workforce housing in the two counties and how we can solve that problem, which is not only one of the biggest problems we have in our counties, but it's also one of the most complex and vexing problems because there are no easy solutions. And a lot of the solutions or a lot of the issues that are driving this problem are not local problems per se, they just have local effects. In things like interest rates that we have no control over, but they have a huge impact on the market. So we had developers there, we had government officials both at the state level, the county level, city levels. Mainly it was to try to find solutions because everybody recognizes the problem. We have a huge influx of people because Florida is where everybody wants to live. So every county in the state almost is experiencing this huge influx of people. Meanwhile, interest rates have gone up to where mortgages are unaffordable, and that's not just mortgages on single family dwellings, that's mortgages on multifamily structures as well. So developers are struggling to get financing for their project. All those factors put together, the huge increases, inflationary increases in building costs. It was shared with us yesterday that in Inlet Beach, for example, new construction is costing $1,634 a square foot. That is astronomical. There's hardly any way that anybody that's on a working wage can even come close to affording any kind of house at those prices. So we have a problem in Walton County of our workforce lives too far away. If we had a huge increase in gas prices, for example, where people can't afford to drive to work, we could be impacted severely and it could happen very quickly. So we need workforce housing built, but we also need to try to get some closer to the jobs. And that's a struggle because of land costs in South Walton make it very problematic to get large tracts. Most of the large tracts in South Walton are built. So now we're having the same problem occur in Freeport, where there's just not a lot of large tracts left. And what is being built are the $500,000+ homes. Well, somebody making a teacher's salary or a deputy's salary or a firefighter's salary or a county employee's salary are not going to be able to afford those homes because they can't pay the mortgage. One of the things that was stressed at this meeting was the need to keep housing costs for the normal person or family under 30% of the pay. That figure compared to our rental cost, the two do not jive up. So we've got to find solutions to get our workers where they can afford a home in Walton County. Then we need to try to get them closer to the job. Sometimes you just have to deal in reality. The reality is 70% of our economy is tourist-based. Those jobs, the vast majority, are in South Walton County. So we've got workers coming from Crenshaw County, Alabama, Houston County, Alabama, Calhoun County, Florida, Jackson County, Florida. We got them coming from Crestview. I mean, the area that we're pulling workers from is just huge. We need to narrow that. How we do that is going to be a big question for not only local government, but also for state government, and even the federal government has a role to play. There is at least the hint that maybe we could partner with some not-for-profits. One of the solutions that was presented was for government to make land available to developers at a lower or no cost. That could be challenging politically. The underlying problem is ageless and simple. It's the first law of economics: supply, demand. Right now we've got no supply and high demand, and that is going to create cost increases. I mean, that's just the law of economics, and those really haven't worked. If you look at the history of mainly urban areas in the United States, out and out subsidies have failed, and it creates blight. It creates projects which most places are trying to tear down instead of build anymore. So I don't think those are solutions. Those are older solutions that have typically not worked. Selling homes or selling condos or something to an individual to find a price point they can afford, that seems to be the way we're moving. But it's not going to be as easy as it sounds. People are moving to Florida at a tremendous clip, and a lot of them seem to be moving to Walton County in general and Freeport in particular, and we just don't have the housing stock to support that. Another big factor in Florida, at least, is our building codes are justifiably tough because hurricanes. I don't think you can get wedded to any one particular strategy. We need to build a lot of houses, and we need to build them rather quickly, but it doesn't do any good to build them as far as our workforce if they're not affordable. Really, we need to keep that price point around 250, 300,000 at the most. Another law of economics is that the provider is going to try to make the largest profit possible. Well, when you make $100,000 profit on this house and you make $1 million profit on this house, where are you going to go? 99.9% of them are going to go here and take that big payout. So when you're talking a $250,000 house and the land costs $30,000, well, that doesn't leave a lot of profit. And so they can go over here and make a lot more money. And that's, the stock that we're seeing built in this county is over $500,000. Well, that's not affordable. But people are buying them. Those things are going like hotcakes. So as long as that's the case, it's going to be difficult to encourage people without incentives to come over here. Now, one thing that was mentioned is that the government, through regulations and zoning, can make this more attractive. These $250,000, but that's not as easy politically as it sounds, because one of the primary methods that are discussed about basically bonuses are density bonuses. Well, density is a ugly word in a lot of places. So if you're talking, if it's already 4-to-1 and you're talking about giving them 10-to-1 in exchange for building this $250,000 product, well, that's going to be a hard sell. Most people would rather you build 2-to-1 instead of 4-to-1.
Right.
10-to-1, is not going to be very popular. So that's a challenge, is to figure out how far we can go and still keep public support, because the government has to have public support long term. We will continue to explore options. One of the wild cards that was discussed at length was the Live Local Act. The Live Local Act has precluded the local governments stopping a lot of this stuff, because now, in the past you had to have a planning department hearing and a planning commission hearing and a couple of board hearings. Well, now all those except the administrative approval is gone. If it's a live local project, those projects are going to be approved. They can put those projects in places where the government, the planners at least, don't want them. For example, say you got a 100-acre piece of industrial property that you're trying to encourage somebody to come in and put a factory or some sort of job opportunity, and a developer comes in and buys that 100 acres and puts four apartment buildings on it. You can't stop them. In fact, it would never even come to the Board of County Commissioners under the Live Local Act. So that's going to be a challenge. I think there's 4 in the state right now, Live Local projects. One of them's in Walton County, the Sandbar down on 98. Well, so we're at the forefront, and the reason we're at the forefront is because Walton County is growing so fast, and because our price points are so high. There's a lot of money that they can make here. That's going to be a challenge going forward, because they may put these things in places where we don't necessarily want them to be, but we can't stop them from being there.